Oh, hey. Today I want to talk to you about my favorite shade of gray, 18% gray. Your camera system uses something called reflective metering. What that is the amount of light that's falling on a scene reflecting back into the camera. Now, 9 times out of 10, it does a really great job. It makes an average from something that's very bright and something that's very dark, and your exposure's pretty good somewhere in the middle. Now, in a situation like I'm in right now, wearing dark clothing on a dark background, you're going to run into some problems and your camera's going to get tricked. So what I suggest is we're going to find out what the incidental light is. And the incidental light is the amount of light that's falling on a scene. So how are we going to do that? In a previous episode, I showed you how to find incidental light using a light meter. Today I'm going to show you the cheap option, which is using a gray card. Now, your reflective light meter in your camera sees everything at 18% gray. Therefore, if we fill the frame with something that is 18% gray, we'll be able to find the incidental light. But first, let's see the reflective light. With my camera on aperture priority, I point it into where the kettle is, and it tells me 400th of a second at 2.8. And when I look at the exposure on the back of the camera, it comes out looking very gray. So, with it already on aperture priority, I fill the frame with the gray card in my viewfinder, and it tells me 1/125th of a second at 2.8. I'm going to switch over to manual mode, plug in those numbers, and take a shot. And now this time, the whites are white, and the kettle looks fantastic. A couple things I want you to be aware of when you're using a gray card to find the incidental light. You don't want to use your gray card like this. It's simply not the light that's falling on the scene. You want to use your gray card like this, on plane with the light that's falling on the scene. Also, keep in mind that the quantity of light down here at the kettle is going to be different than the quantity of light halfway between the light and the subject. For those situations that your camera's reflective meter gets tricked, finding the incidental light with a gray card is a great way to go. And personally, it is my favorite shade of gray. For thestar.com, I'm Rene Johnston.